one time, Beaker and I were hiking the Appalachian Trail, and he met some friends of his, and they all went in. They were all talking about school, which I didn't want to talk about, because I've been in school for so many years, it's not interesting anymore. And, of course, that happened after 3rd grade. So I walked into town. It was about a 5-mile walk from the campsite down the trail into town, and when I got there, I went in, was having a steak, and this guy started talking to me. We had this great conversation. We were having a good time. He said, "Hey, look, it's dark, and it's 5 miles up the road to your campground. Why don't I drive you up there?" I said, "Hey, great." And so we got in his car, and just as we pulled out from under the last light in that town, the guy said, "You know what, I should probably tell you that I'm gay." And I said, "Oh, I should probably tell you that I'm a Christian." And Christians and gays are really a lot more alike than most people think. And he said, "Well, what do you mean?" And I said, "Well, I think that gay people are people who desperately need to be loved. And I think Christian people are pretty much the same." And he said, "Well, do you want out of the car?" I said, "Why?" He said, "Because I'm gay and you're Christian." I said, "It's still 5 miles and it's still dark." I'm not crazy.
I'm not crazy.
And he said, "I thought Christians hated gays." I said, "That's funny. I thought Christians were supposed to love. I thought that was our first command." He said, "Well, I thought God hated gays." I said, "That's really funny because I thought that God was love." And he said, "Well, do you think that God sent AIDS down to punish gay people?" And I said, "Well, in the same sense that he sends bankruptcy on farmers and presidents on voters." That there are consequences for our choices. And sometimes we have to bear the consequence of other people's choices. And then he asked me the big one. He said, "Do you think I will go to hell for being a gay?" Well, I'm a good Hoosier. And I puckered up to say, "Yes, of course you'll go to hell for being gay." But folks, I will tell you the truth. I got ready to say, "Yes, of course you'll go to hell for being gay." And when I opened my mouth, it came out, "No. Of course you won't go to hell for being gay." And I thought, oh my God, I've only been in New Hampshire for 1 week and I've already turned into a liberal. What am I going to tell this guy now? You know, there are times when we think we are God's messengers, when we think we are the mouthpiece of God. And God really needs fewer mouths than he needs ears. And there are times when we think we've got it all together and we meet somebody and they ask us the right questions and we get to find out something about God that we learned when we were little because our moms and dads read it to us. And because they took us to Sunday school and we were told over and over the great truths of the scriptures, but we forget them because we get all caught up in how cool we are. I said, "No, you won't go to hell for being gay any more than I would go to hell for being a liar." That nobody goes to hell because of what they do. We go to hell because we reject the grace that God so longs to give to us, regardless of what we do. Some of you people try so hard to be good, and you think someday you're going to be so good that God's going to look down on you favorably. Well, let me tell you something. God already looks down on you favorably. That's what grace is. Not because you have earned it, but because he is a favorable looking God. Some of you people are so afraid that someday you're going to cross that line, that you're going to do that one sin that God will never forgive you of. Or you're going to do that one sin that you've been doing so long, but you have this feeling like there's a certain number of times when you can get away with it and God can look away. But one time too many and your life is over, folks. God knew you at your worst before he ever sent Christ to die for you. And the good news of Christianity is not that Christ came into the world to make good little boys and girls. Christ came into the world to take away those sins that you allow to come between you and God. It is sad to me to believe, to look out there and see when you're driving down the road and you see people who are afraid You see people who are angry and you go, if only you knew how crazy about you God was. God has already loved you, if only you knew. That God will never give up on you. He will never stop loving you. That love is a reality no matter what you do or don't do. God does not call us to be angels. He calls us to be His and to be who we are in Him.